Hey everybody, let's get kicking it for today. Thanks everybody. Awesome. Let's get started and look at the right off the bat what we have for Bitcoin. Little pop and roll, right? Uh Supposed to have Mitch Ray in today for double shot, if you will. And I haven't been able to connect with him this morning, so let's see what's going on. But thanks everybody for being here in the chat. Let's get it. And let's see if I'm waiting for Mitch to get back to me. So we're supposed to do something here today, and then I'm going to jump over to his thing tonight. But maybe he got caught up on something. Don't know. Probably busy adding to his crypto portfolio. Let's absolutely get into why we're popping here off of just simply this crab PRZ on Bitcoin. And the only thing that can save it right now is some kind of delayed signal like we're seeing on HSI. That's constructive, but we're still in a type 1 reaction. Really important to note that any move, anything we see would be great, to get up to 45, 250, 240 to be exact. But that's still reaction territory all the way. How's everybody else? Just giving a shout. We'll look at some of your favorite S coins, and I mean real S coins, if not zero coins. And then some of the other ones that, all the ones that those that second tier, emerging tier, the top 20 to 100. Take a quick look. Let's look at some of the big ones we have been focusing on. Okay, this is still early in development, but this is BAT. And BAT, really nice reaction off of the Gartley. Comes back and gives another Gartley. So back-to-back patterns here, folks. That's something I want to pay attention to. And your big number is 97.80. Your hop levels are as low as 93, or check out this. You do have a prior crab pattern off the top, so you had this massive correction down and sideways consolidation, trying to find, clearly 94.72 is the number for that on the downside here, that I would be looking at that as your maximum support. Appreciate it. Yep. Layer 1, Layer 2, Layer 3, Web 3, Web 4. All the ones that, are going to try to emerge in that situation. And if we're going to come out of this phase, whatever this phase is that really started with interest rates, with the big surge in interest rates, I got to say, this correction, it is a correction. Is it a full-on bear market? We'll know pretty soon in Bitcoin and others. But we're at a point where these larger patterns and stuff like this, I can't ignore. Here's another one. Axie Infinity. These have all done major corrections off their top. There's the daily. So Axie, that's a 50% correction, folks, and it's doing a really nice shark formation that, getting close. The common thing we're seeing since the November, December peak and correction is this down move, really in a thrusting kind of 1618 as your minimum level, and notice how that was at 66 bucks. But that's not a full shark until we get down to the 886. So we're not fully there just yet. You got it. Thank you very much. Why not? We throw up a disclaimer. This is risky stuff. Hold on one second. Give me 1 second, folks. I got a little background noise. But this risk disclaimer is for your advisory, and this is not financial advice. This is entertainment I hope you find educational. So let's get back to it. Axie Infinity, folks. Still down here at the 886 is a little bit lower off of your September, October lows. And I'm going to target that as low as 60 bucks. Just for right now. I mean, we want things to line up. You want all of the numbers to hit, not just some. So some of these are in great position. Others, not so much. Here's another one. And something that I outlined recently that I think is really important. Hold on 1 second. God. So check this out as I get this master noise. Remember LRC, and I was saying this about a whole lot of these that have mooned like this, where we were looking simply at the big thrust. Once we violate the 382, you give up on it, or you at least say more is happening. Well, LRC is now turned into an all-time bat here on the daily, where again, pretty close, not all the way there, but get it on your radar at about 76, 77 cents. This whole thrust move turns into another bat. How many times have we seen that? Absolutely. Waiting for Mitch. Hopefully Mitch will show up. If not, we can always reschedule, get him back here another time. Hopefully he'll still have me on his show. Here's Luna, folks, and I bailed on this, so let's talk about Luna really quick. And I want to share this with everyone, that on Luna we were executing a beautiful type 1, and then we violated the uptrend line. Our minimum target was 78 and a quarter, got as high as 88, 87. What was that? 87.75. Almost exactly at target 2. I don't know why that didn't show it. Maybe it's a placement error. But we're still came back up into the target zones. I'm going to keep my eye on this. I still think that Luna could come back for a retest, give me a type 2. That would be the ideal situation for a larger reversal. A lot of these are still showing, reactive positions within the framework, if you will. Couple more here. Let's look at the total crypto market cap. Start there. Okay, check out the crab pattern. Now, this is something on the 4-hour chart, at least I think you can hang your head on. And we have almost a perfect type 1 here. Why? We hit target 1. It's an important distinction, I think, that you have to see this come up, hit target 1, for that to be enough of a move, for that to be something we really consider valid, and then come back for the retest. Did we hit XA? No. We do have confirmation. I'd like to see a retest. I'd like to see a full retest. So, not perfect, but let's see what happens. Let's see. Have I entered into an IB contract? What do you mean an IB? Interactive brokers? Have I ever traded on interactive broker platform? No. If that's what you mean. Look, the thing for total crypto market cap is this thing is going to try to hammer support around the 2 million mark, a 2 trillion level. And at least you have this nice deep crab to work with where you go down as low as 1.9, that's okay. But you are in the retest process, and folks, you want to see this thing. I would love to see this thing retest, come down, retest the recent HSI trigger on the 4-hour. Also look at our daily. Okay, the daily gave us some strange, I don't know if anyone else saw that, but there was some strange candles on TradingView yesterday. I don't know if this actually skewed the data. I have to take a look at that. I noticed there was some crazy There you go. It was like that. I don't know if anyone else was getting that on their TradingView platform, but with the total crypto market cap, something happened in their data feed. They need to fix that. Here's the DeFi crypto market cap where it is in a better position overall. You haven't violated your structural low. Prior lows going back to December. And even look at this. We were drawing this as a reaction. We're looking for the return. We do have HSI, and that's a daily structure, folks, checking back somewhere around the 140, 150 billion. What is this? It's not the prettiest of structures, and it's not the prettiest of patterns, but as I said before, the total DeFi index is pretty much a shark, a very ugly shark. And when we look at those sharks, one of the things that, with a lot of these that did this formation, is simply show me the 50% pullback, which is right there. So you are in a valid 50-50, bullish 50, if you will, that came up, for its reaction. Came back down for the retest. You have two readings here. I would be looking for, on the top side, this thing to be squeezed between essentially 195 if you're lucky, back down to essentially 130, 140. There's really not a lot to expect. If the whole crypto market cap is going to fall apart, Bitcoin's going to fall apart, you're also going to see it in DeFi, which is probably the strongest of these indices. And we can get concerned under 135, 130 billion. Tether messed up and had 3 billion of coins minted by mistake. Now that explains it. I wish I could have that problem. Anyway, this is what's happening. We're still in an environment with Bitcoin. You want Bitcoin to stabilize so that the altcoins, they can run. That's it. Look at stuff like, here's Zcash. And I know this was a favorite of so many people. And this is indicative of a lot of the crypto, I would say legacy crypto, that doesn't give us much. There's Zcash. Until Zcash comes all the way down and can give some kind of, even an 886 off the September run. Right? You're almost there. 886 is 122, 120. But get some kind of big retracement, and a lot of these are just still going sideways. Just grinding lower. That there's nothing there. There's different. This is different. We talked about this on Tuesday. This is completely different from, say, something like Solana. Down here on the daily. At least you're still in an uptrend. You're holding critical prior low, that pivot point from September. And what's the other one? Well, I know. Here's Matic. Okay, Matic is trying to break out. Will it? And again, I would just break it down here on a 4-hour or hourly basis, looking for some kind of pullback. There's a bat pattern off the top, but go on the hourly. Check out the patterns that are generated. There was a type 2 bat. I mean, you do have, you got a shark. It's not even generating on the software. Let me look at a couple more that I've highlighted in the past that are, the smaller coins, but they've been banging around this support. Here's Engine Coin. Beautiful hourly, couple of patterns there, but we're more interested in the 4-hour. And that's something to consider too. You want the real firm levels, go to a 4-hour time frame. and generate that. Does anyone know if there's an update on the XRP case? We'll get to XRP in a second, but I think something is looming. And thanks for making that suggestion, Cozy Comfington. XRP is in a spot where the price action is really saying this thing is trying to put in hammer in a bottom. And something's looming. XRP, I just feel like something is looming, that this is a situation where you're just sitting in the low end of the zone. Like here's Engine Coin doing the same thing. Two crab patterns right off the top. At least we're finding support down there at the 210, 220 level. Keep an eye on it. XRP is this. XRP is a beautiful weekly. Where'd you go? Where'd it go? XRP right here. You have a few things on the 4-hour. Sure, this rather sloppy but still valid hop level on the bat at 74 cents. But this is, XRP is more about the weekly time frame. And let me show you those structures. Which one was it? Maybe it was against Tether. There's clearly a Gartley retesting, but the software, there it is. The software, Harmonic Pattern Collection, automatically generated the proper alignments all the way back here in June. And we did a type 1. So now we're looking for the retest. And this would come back. XA hit that in that flash December crash down at 55.70, 55 cents, 55.7 cents. And now we're just going sideways, but structurally this has satisfied everything you need to see. Not to mention, as I highlighted, you do have kind of another bat pattern formation on XRP. It's not getting picked up by the software. The larger structure is really picking it up, but it's like that. All of those numbers are around 60, at the low end. Your ABCD off the top and some of the other more critical levels are probably more like 67 or 70. So just break this down and then look at, you have a beautiful weekly formation. Go to a 4-hour time frame. Tell me what's happening in that zone. Remarkable. That's the flash crash low. That, again, we see the differences in data depending on your feed. That was KuCoin. Here's Binance. KuCoin went to 45 cents. This went to 60 cents. Regardless, look, Binance has now a nice little ABCD retesting that low. All of this is at 74. Imagine XRP hitting the hop. You know what? Anything's possible. I mean, listen, it's a great question, comment. Here it is. The comment was, because there is there's a hop, okay, at 9 cents. So the comment was, imagine it going down, hitting this level, the hop at 9 cents. And I don't know if that's too crazy of a thought, but you would never want to assess that until you have clear evidence of breakdown at the critical levels. That's something I think people overlook, how important the analytical evidence of individual reactions are at the zone, at the most important levels. It can tell you a great deal of what's going on. For instance, okay, we know that target 1 and target 2, there's target 1, there's target 2, are so critical once you get the terminal bar generated, all right, when I'm here, I'm already thinking, and my target is already going for target 1. No matter what, you're down here at terminal bar, which is 56, 60 cents. I'm thinking minimum reaction to target 1. The bar explodes through that target 1, gets up to target 2 exactly, but can't follow through. So it's even from if you didn't know much about how to execute or read that situation, you could say that that's clear resistance that's being, respected in terms of the reaction framework. Can't follow through. So that's something with XRP, just understanding that and then knowing you've retested the second time. So here you are retesting on the downside, and you have successfully stabilized. This is a weekly chart. Okay, this is great evidence of substantial construction of the next step higher. It's going to take a bit of time. Look at the all-time chart. Look at the all-time. There's your all-time data. Let's get a better one. It shows all of the data. Here you go. There you go. So here's all-time XRP, which is another reason why to look at all of the different data feeds, because the newer exchanges that are featuring coins like this won't show the data from other exchanges. They'll just start, like Coinbase will show what it has. But if we're down here, the whole point of XRP, multiple patterns, retested. Now you have a trigger on the weekly time frame here that's saying, if this is the next launch point within the whole framework, well, what could happen? You go up, your B point goes there. If this is a critical C, which I think it is, then you go up. This is your possibility for XRP, and it would be a Gartley. Why? B point is at a 57, folks. We need 61.8, and that's so close. Typically, we're 60. We want plus or minus 3. I bet if I made it perfect, it would be qualify as the 618. But that puts you, within the long-term framework. And this is not going to happen in a week or a month or even maybe this year. Maybe it will. Maybe you get something crazy. But within the long-term framework, that's where I would look for XRP in a explosion scenario. That's a possibility. But all of where you are now has to hold. 70, 60. HOP stands for Harmonic Optimal Price. Thank you, Alec. And again, that fits within the Type 1, Type 2 framework. Why? Because standard technical analysis, I think everyone understands, you have an initial pivot point. You retest that point to establish support or resistance. Much the same way with harmonic levels. You will get a reaction first and then the retest for the reversal. That's what Bitcoin did. Bitcoin's just been reacting off of these initial tests. But XRP is certainly one to watch, folks. And I think there are a few that we need to watch that are like XRP. It's not just Bitcoin. It's not just Ethereum. It's more like, what's going to happen with the DeFi index? What's going to happen with XRP? What is Luna going to do? Is Luna going to explode here? Back at 84, go to new all-time highs? You can't see it. I mean, that's a beautiful, strong uptrend. Maybe I'm premature. I dumped my position. Hey, I made a nice profit on this reaction move. But am I going to miss out on something larger? I'll see. But I am not in this anymore, to be clear, and we'll see. I'll wait for my next signal to get back in. And if it explodes without me, all right, so be it. But that's, an example where within all the craziness of everything that's happened over the last 20, 30 days, it didn't retrace much. We didn't even get down to a full Type 2 retest. Some of the other things that, that were amazing, and let's get some perspective on all of this. I think Decentraland and Sandbox, look, all the promise of the metaverse, and you've got a lot of stories recently of Walmart and other companies making metaverse moves. Well, again, where's your 382? We have to measure this kind of stuff. Why? Because it will establish the make or break points, whether or not Decentraland maybe comes down to a 618 and then explodes. But in that time, it was fairly clear after we spiked, did an amazing 20x move high to low, amazing. 20x high to low inside of 6 months is amazing. But you go to your 382 and you can't stabilize. You can't continue. In fact, you come all the way to a 50. It's just an example of a lot of the hype and a lot of the metaverse stuff where, that narrative has subsided, thank goodness. And this might not be a bad thing to be looking at, but at what price? And so maybe what we see with this is you come down and give us another, well, it would really be off of that peak, another 886. I just want to kind of highlight by connecting dots here that not a bad idea for this to be a leader in future metaverse projects, but this spike is done. We've already rolled over, breaking down below the 50 level, and I wouldn't consider it until it developed some kind of individual pattern or came all the way back to the 886 off that last swing. This brings us back to reality, folks. So essential. Luna not making another potential smaller harmonic for type 2. It might. We just have to see. Luna was one of those where it violated the uptrend. And that's why, like a lot of these that, on the daily, Luna looks great. On the 4-hour chart for Luna, this is definitely a challenge for type 1 decisions. Your type 1 decision of, taking the profit, is it going to keep running, or is this the spot to take the profit? Okay, you violate your uptrend off of the low in just about every instance. You're taking that off. That's the plan. That is your type 1 reaction trend line gets violated. Now, this one is starting to creep back up. Maybe we come back another retested target 2 and then come back down. I don't know. But I'm okay with that. Why? Because over the course of so many trades, okay, that move, and that, especially on type 1 decisions, saves me from a lot of drawdown or retests, and then I get another opportunity. One or two more. I want to get into the crude oil situation. I want to get into gold, and our last live stream we talked about interest rates. And maybe we can save it. We can do the discussion tonight with Mitch. I don't know. I don't see Mitch's around. So big shout out to Mitch Ray, though. Man, he does a great show at least 6 nights a week. Let me show you guys where you can find out about Mitch Ray. Although most of you are in here from Mitch Ray, probably, or a lot of you. So go to YouTube, go to Mitch Ray TA. Look, he comes right up. He comes up before Mitch McConnell. That's amazing. Okay, Mitch Ray, that's the man right there. Look, if you want to go to school, get a university education on technical analysis, Mitch Ray is the man. So we'll talk tonight more about some of the, the harmonics, the technicals, his insights, and then some of the deeper things that, putting together a lot of this to kind of really give us a bigger picture. How do you differentiate between the alternate bat and the crab if you get a pin bar between an 886 and a 113. Well, let's jump over to the markets because there is an alternate bat right now in NASDAQ. So let's go over to that quickly. We're working with Harmonic Pattern Collection for TradingView, folks. And here's the alternate bat that was generated. It's really sloppy. Now the question is, how do I know it's not a crab pattern? Well, pretty simple. It's always comes down to your B point, folks. And this is grabbing it off of that prior low. All of the patterns you see that come up automatically are automatically generated by the software. I do recommend that you learn the manual alignments and have that understanding of the framework so that you can understand what's the difference between a bat and a crab. You know, there's an alternate bat. It's an M formation, but your B point's at a 382. So that sets you up for a full retest of X. Usually it's a minimum 886, but a lot of times we look at the 113 level. It creates a zone. It depends on what your BC leg is. But the key here is look at the B. Your B point's at a 382. So the crab is a 1618 extension pattern. In this case, it's not a crab, although it got pretty close to the 1618, but it's not a crab pattern because your BC alignment doesn't work out. You have no ABCD component. All of these are built into the algos. Isn't this a shark? I'll go over to the other platform in a second and we'll look at what the NASDAQ situation is. We're, definitely hitting some severe oversold. Just to trace out this is something I've been mentioning in recent sessions, is just an 886 swing. I was actually mentioning this back in December, folks. I did some posts on Twitter of looking for this to trigger just a breakdown 886 move. I think it's 14.650. So we're up today 200 or so. We've been bouncing around again, but that fits within the framework. That's a really nice M formation. Where's your B point? 53. Okay, that's more like a 50%. Remember, B point 50 for the bat plus minus 3% is a good way to go. 53, that works. That tells you 886. You're wondering if the delayed NASDAQ data affects the rendering of my software. No, well, some of my data feeds on this TradingView are delayed, but no, on my main platform, which is this, I have real-time everything. So this is, let's jump over here. This is Harmonic Pattern Collection for eSignal. I run multiple versions, folks. I should take a picture of the TVs and screens. So I'm running 3 TVs, 3 4-foot TVs, 2 screens, and a laptop. And I'm running almost all of the HPC versions, which is I love charts. So for me, give me all the charts everywhere. But look, this is our 30-minute time frame. We're just coming off a bearish bat. And remember how I said we're dealing with this situation. Here it is, automatically generated. Okay, this is a pending pattern. And I would be targeting this 886 minimum at 14,834. I definitely think today is just kind of a one-off day. At least it's bouncing. I would prefer to see this thing wash out, but you do have a bearish pattern right now, and that should cap some resistance. Let me go back here. That should cap resistance at where we are. I mean, this is a type 2 reaction off the ABCD, but type 1 reaction off the bat pattern, the 30 minutes. So that's at 15,330. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see this thing kind of come down. Come on. target 1, then come back for type 2. Look, just take a look at what happened yesterday and last night. Okay? Their ABCD pattern was right there at 15.051, and you came up with a perfect type 1 reaction. And remember what I said about Luna. When you have these situations, you have a reaction and it violates the trend line, which it did here. This is where you're out. There's no question for type 1 reaction. It just, sometimes it'll come back and then do the retest, which bang, all the way down here, full retest right off the hop, right? This is a perfect type 2 hop setup. HSI comes in perfectly at the hop level at 15,000 even. And now you have a bat. You're back-to-back-to-back patterns. Beautiful. This is type 1 reaction. 886 for today, 15,328. I would not, maybe we get a retest up into this zone, but this should be an important level going into tomorrow and the end of the week. Couple questions. Have I ever read Bulkowski? Of course. Definitely. Thomas Bulkowski wrote pretty much a standard glossary of chart patterns, and then in recent years I saw him take a whack at a few harmonic patterns. And I actually had interactions with Mr. Bulkowski. Nothing against the guy. He just shredded the butterfly. And maybe one of you can find his results on the butterfly online. But he basically said it was like a 27, 28% reactive rate. And it failed most of the time. So I tried to highlight a few important items that not all of maybe what he's considering is a butterfly is truly valid if he knew exactly what the harmonic patterns were. And we had a disagreement on that. So, look, if you want to know what reactive rates are on harmonic patterns, you have to absolutely clarify situationally, what structure? Are they the same? Are you dealing with a butterfly that overshoots a 1272 or doesn't have the proper ABCD? So that's why it's so critical. And again, I respect the guy immensely, but there's nobody that has done the harmonic pattern work that I've done that understands not only the framework, but why the intricate combinations make all the difference. Then you're comparing apples and oranges. The butterfly is definitely not the most powerful of harmonic patterns, but it's not 27% or 33% accurate or whatever he was saying it was. And again, what is the definition of a successful trade off a harmonic pattern? That was something he could not define, where what's your profit target? What's your expectation off the butterfly pattern? So believe me, I've really absolutely, there's a lot of people that I have had discussions with, some that have wanted to kind of just press forward as if they're experts on harmonic patterns, and I'm sorry, you can't be. You can't be. He's not. He's not. He knows traditional chart patterns, but he does not know harmonic patterns. And for that and his unwillingness to even kind of correct some of his fallible research is not surprising. So that's for you guys. That's truth. I'm never, there's a lot of nonsense. So much. I have, it just, I don't know. I'm not going to get there. I just think what I'm doing here for the sake of harmonic patterns, of what we're trying to lay down, is to show what is the true harmonic framework. What should we be expecting? How do we measure and handle it? Then, with those variables is so critical to understand that framework. You can't just say it's all the same structure and then assume to get results that work. Do you have confirmation? Is it the first time it tested, second time it tested? I appreciate that, folks. I really do. Yeah, the framework, the type. Listen, I think that's the other discussion that I should save for another time is simply the type 1, type 2 framework. That if you don't know that, well, let's go over to, let me show everybody where to really get started. So I guess we're not going to, Mitch, give me a call later if you hear this or anybody's talking to him. I'm sure I'll connect with him later. I'm sure he's busy, but connect with Mitch Ray. The other place, folks, go to harmonictrader.com. So I just wanted to show this, where become a basic member. Again, a couple more people asking where to get with the software. You go to harmonictrader.com. Everything starts at harmonictrader.com. You become a free member. And it's all free for a reason, because if you're not learning, if this is not of value to you, then we're all wasting our time. And for me to try to sell, say the books or whatever, as my main business is the markets, is trading the markets. It always has been. That's why I don't think I've really put forth a huge effort like other people have in the harmonic pattern space until the recent few years. But go become a basic member. Get with our software, because that's the other half of it. But everything you need to learn, and especially that type 1, type 2 information, which is critical, that's available in Volume 3, which the Harmonic Trader, Volume 1, Volume 2, Volume 3, all available as PDFs. Just click that and go to Volume 3. That's probably the biggest advancement with new material as well. And then go back and check out the other books. Yeah, no worries. I know, Mitch, maybe I wasn't as clear. I appreciate that, William. But we'll connect with him. So let's go over really quick to the Pro platform. This is real time. So, okay, check it out. NASDAQ's dropping. We're looking for type 1 reaction to 15,207 off of this bat pattern. So it looks like we're about to get that on the 30-minute. And let's see what shapes up. How about the 5-minute? I also, every time I come into the market, what's the last 5-minute HSI and structure? You have that same pattern on the 5-minute time frame. You've got a bat. So again, on the bat pattern, that's pointing around 15,180. But for the longer term, check out how far we've come. Let's go back to this daily pattern. This, folks, I've learned a lot with the software development about harmonic patterns, and for me, harmonic patterns were always kind of a mystery. And honestly, the first few years, 2 years or so, we really asked, a lot of people were asking me, does the stuff really work? Does it really work? And I always try to keep a realistic perspective, say that harmonic patterns are a signpost of potential future action. I utilize PRZ, potential reversal zone, to try to keep a conservative estimate, conservative perspective on any pattern that might develop. But the thing with the software that we've learned is it's excellent at defining reactive points like we see here. And I don't want to ignore them. But I don't want to ignore the profit levels either. And we see even in these bearish patterns that on the daily chart, and we don't get too many daily patterns, maybe 2-3 times a year, you're going to get them at important points where you look for the reaction and then assess what the larger potential is. But check out what's happening. Last four patterns, all giving reactions to minimum target 1 levels. Now we have a bullish pattern in a well-established uptrend that if we get down to that 886 on the daily, this is actually a better scenario. You have your swing 886 right off the September low. That's at 14,640. I would want to at least see a reaction off of that level. The only way that could get violated is some kind of major drop, crash, something dramatic happens. Otherwise, I'm respecting that pattern, and I'll still play the current short term as bearish into that zone. But this is a beautiful structure. Really nice bat formation within this long-term uptrend, and a lot of people are looking for a crash or looking for a massive correction. If interest rates spike any further, 2 points on that. First, there's always going to be plenty of time. And then if that does violate, okay, there's nothing down here until much lower levels. That, I'm not really at that point. Maybe you have a 1618 offshoot move, but we're still firmly in this COVID uptrend. And sure, we'll assess what happens here. 15,000 is a big psychological level, but again, you have a pattern. The software's spitting it out. I don't want to ignore that. Couple of questions. Let me look at that coin. Let's save that coin for Monday. Excellent, appreciate it. The Volume 1, Volume 2 has everything you need to know. I agree with that. Absolutely, Volume 1, but Volume 2 has the confirmation strategies. Another comment. What are your thoughts on Mark Holden and his anti-harmonic structures? So I have no idea who he is. I have heard of anti-harmonic structures and bullshit. That's what I think. Sorry, I had to say it. I'm tired of it. I'm really not, I don't know the guy. Never contacted me. And what does anti mean? What? We just flip it around and then it works the same way going forward? It is something that for the last at least 10 years I've had to deal with the people wanting to give attribution, take their work and pile it on harmonic patterns, harmonic trading. I will have a lot more on this probably as the year goes on. I'm not happy. Some of these guys I've reached out to, and not only do they not cite their sources, which is a whole nother thing in terms of intellectual property, but it's not responsible. It's not responsible. How do they know what's anti-harmonic if they don't know what is harmonic to start with? So I see a lot of it, and I don't want to go much further than just saying, folks, Harmonic Trader is the only place for harmonic patterns. And the other people that are doing harmonic pattern software, it's not. I've looked at it. We're working on it. I'm addressing these people individually at this point, which you will see more about that so I can clean it up once and for all. But that's why I give everything away for free. Does he give away? Let me guess. He's selling a course and he's selling a service and he hasn't put up a winning trade in 3 months. Have no idea, but that's pretty much what these guys are about. For me, what's the way to preserve the work of harmonic patterns is to be able to recreate it with a software that, yeah, this is a business for me now. Not my primary business, but it is a business that with these tools, with harmonic pattern collection, the algorithms are defining what true harmonic levels are. That would be like somebody who's a ripoff of any other method. If let's say you wanted to do Wyckoff accumulation and distribution models, but you just wanted to draw your own design because you thought, oh, this is better because I draw it this way. I mean, it just is. There's too much of it. So that's why this is all free. This is why harmonic pattern collection trials are free. What I'm doing here in our sessions, free. And then subscribe. And I tell everybody, do not subscribe until you have taken advantage of all the free resources. That's it. Absolutely. No, but it's a good comment, but there is clarification required. Unfortunately, something I don't like to get too much on it, but there are a lot of comments like that where it's like, hey, I've heard a harmonic pattern somewhere else before you, Scott. Didn't even know I could get your stuff for free because I just bought a course from this guy for $3,000 and I didn't learn anything. So what do you think of X, Y, or Z? I think you just need to focus on, really, if you're into harmonic patterns, start there with the free resources. And if you're doing other methodologies, understand the framework. You don't have to get it all, but once you see the framework, you can't ignore the levels. Anti-Wyckoff coming. Yeah, anti-Wyckoff.com. How about that? Poor guy's rolling in his grave with that. All right, let's get over to crude oil. Let's get over to, and that's look, this is what I'm looking for on NASDAQ and most of the markets. Let's finish this correction, come back down, hit an 886, and then we go. Crude oil, really interesting stuff. Look what this is. Oh, that's Valero. Oh, check out Valero and a type 2 shark, but that's not what I wanted. That's one of several. There's a lot of interesting major oil companies that are been raging recently. We need to look at them. Go to crude oil. Here we are. How many patterns do we see? How many patterns can we count? Well, this blue ABCD is a pending potential. But that's something I want to take a look at. We do have this bat pattern. And let me remove it so we can just look at the immediate bat. All right, so this bat pattern, folks, how many times have we seen it? Reaction, retest, return, reversal. So I'll be looking on spot price where we are right now, 88, 87 to 88, with the hop being at 88.15 for something. Is that going to be a reaction? Well, let's look at the last three times. Last three bearish patterns are telling for how we want to consider this going forward. Go back to July. No surprise. Summer, hit your summer peak. Go down to a type 1 reaction. Then this one did not get back. It tried to, but did not get to the 1618. You did get back to your 1618 and hit the hop of that deep crab at 79. But again, another, on this one, this hop retest, overshoot, but there's your confirmation all the way up here. That's your first confirmation. You're looking here at the hop level at 79, 79.25. From all the way back there, it is relevant. No confirmation until you get to 85. What does that tell me when I see that situation is that this overall trend is trying to push higher. We'll still get reactions, and we're probably about to do the same thing. But we have another reaction all the way down to 67. Then come back, give us another W formation. So we're at the hop level. Last time we were at the hop level and took it out was all the way there. What should we be looking for between here and wherever to get that pullback? I need to see something up here of indicator confirmation. Take a look. HSI is coming out of the zone now, today. But amplified, this is daily chart, still in an overbought condition that could take more time. So if we see a pause or a continued sideways grind eventually going higher, don't be surprised. Because of the craziness of the big drawdown from on the weekly chart, this thing when it went negative, I do, and we forever will, now have to look at individual contract months. So here's December contract, and I've mentioned this before. We have had a beautiful crab, a couple of crab patterns. Look at these. This is weekly. Look at that. Also, what can we say about this crab pattern? Well, we had a nice reaction. Hit the 1618 and react. That's important. The fact that it just did this little ditch reaction, even though it's failed, by definition it has failed. That still means that this harmonic was significant, relevant. And I would say you're breaking out until you get another signal. HSI on the weekly, you just ride that. You let that go. I don't know why is that doing. Oh, I know why. I've got to check the data. When's the Scott bot coming out? Well, it's the 20th. Today's the 20th, so you guys have to give me at least one more week. I told you I'd get it in January. So next week I'll have news. I probably will streamline it so that I can get it out without it being, it won't be the full bot yet, but it'll be a basic version. I'm trying to fix this data thing. What's going on here? My HSI is not, I'm having a problem on that HSI sometimes with that. Let's go to June contract. Next week I'll show you the Scott bot in detail. Promise. I already teased some of that. What is the Scott bot? The Scott bot is the automated harmonic pattern collection tool that will automatically buy and sell for you. So imagine this. Scott bot. I like that. Scott bot looks like this, folks, and I should bring it up, but imagine if you had a tool, which we do, where it identified the pattern, okay, and not only that, essentially looked for terminal bars with HSI after the fact, and then was able to do the automatic management. For example, hasn't been easy, and I'm still trying to really tune it up, but the Scott bot would generate your signal right there on this secondary bar, and it would automatically enter your trade depending you set the position side, and then you run a whole bunch of an array of conditions that have to be satisfied, that for one of them being, hey, if we have a bearish HSI against our bullish zone, we're going to scalp out the trade and probably go on, say, the next signal or the next signal. But it does it automatically. Initial results have been great. HSI material has been really strong. I think most of you can see where I'm going with that. Yeah, it'll give you pattern alerts and everything. I mean, the pattern alerts is the easy part. But that's been, probably shouldn't have been announced it, but because it took longer than I really thought it would, and I'm still trying to dial it in. But we'll do a full rundown on Monday. Okay, let's get back to energy, crude oil. Why are we up here at a point? What's inflation going to do? Those numbers, whether they're good or bad for the government, I never trust them. We know inflation's out of control. Where is it running out of control? It's running out of control in crude oil, energy, which is mainly because of the leases that what's his face shut down on executive order day one. So he cut our capacity, which has direct effect on everything. And until that switches, you're going to have this structural supply squeeze. Many years ago, had some interaction with some guys that own a pipeline company out of North Dakota, and I really learned an amazing amount of really what this country does in terms of production, energy production. It's amazing. And when, despite the issues with fracking, and I'm not going to get into that debate because it's not a pretty one, but the fact is, the fracking has made this country incredibly wealthy and has paid for a lot of nonsense. And you shut that down, you see what happens. So is this going to get out of control? I do think this is partially a manufactured crisis just by the government's policies, that if they change the policies tomorrow, yeah, we could see a dramatic switch in crude oil outlook. But I don't think that's happening anytime soon. So definitely. Hey, Mike, I see your comment. If you reached out to me, I definitely will review and get back to you, Mike W. If I missed you, or some of my emails have been going to my spam folder, folks. That's why I've missed a few recently, but definitely connect with me, Discord or email. But let's get back to this crude oil situation. Many of you know that I have been uber bullish, calling for crude oil to go to 100. Last year it was 80. Now I'm saying this year we go to 100. And let's go just get some perspective on some all-time contracts. Here for December, the history of that, we're almost at the 886. And that matters. What do you have there? You have a shark formation, folks. It looks like this. Your 886 is like right there. Your 1618 comes up to there. So even these larger formations on a monthly scream mandatory retest of all-time high at 88.79. If all of that still has to get tested before I would even consider this thing to be hitting resistance, you're still 10% higher. And then we don't need to go far other than the amazing patterns that were being generated in the likes of ExxonMobil. They said ExxonMobil. Where did you go? Quarterly? ExxonMobil, I mean, it's 74 and change. Forget about it. We'll come back and retest these prior highs at 95. There's nothing, this kind of dramatic breakout and continuation from point to point is just, absolutely tells you how strong that major retest. That was a 20-year 886 at 35 bucks. Let's go to the weekly on ExxonMobil. Yeah, look at that. Oh, I know what the problem is. There you go. There's the bat, but there was a couple bat patterns there. Crude oil could be impacted by Ukraine. Yeah, that's a good comment. I don't think absolutely don't think that matters. Sure, it would influence it, but we're in a spot here where crude oil. Let's look at the all-time chart. continuous, so we get the full history here. Even though the negative 40, I mean, just absolutely insane. Okay, 2008, 147. And that was right before the crash. That's also something to think about, where if you're worried about the markets, you're going to have to see crude oil top out. If crude oil doesn't top out, then you don't have much. And I don't, for now, I'm still looking at certain things. Check out, let's talk about butterflies for a second with my shout out to Thomas Bulkowski for this. Here's a butterfly, folks. Okay, that's what a butterfly should look like. Now, does the butterfly come off of some kind of extreme high? No, it's off of an intermediate point. But look at your alignment. Your B point's at a 786. Your BC is a 224, which is normally what you want to see. 2.0, 224, not much more than that. All of that converging at your 127. And this is the thing I see a lot with the butterfly, and probably what Mr. Bulkowski missed on the butterfly was that this reaction, type 1 reaction, there is the official completion point. I don't even know if he does that or not, but you go down to target 1. That's the goal, from here to here. Now, what's the stop loss? We're clearly going to use it above the hop level. You can look at a couple of different ways to do it. One way is to go 3 to 1. What's 3 to 1 or even 2 to 1? From 72.44 to 54. About 18. And I'm looking somewhere around 72, 73 for a move to 55 or 54. That's it. With this whole area quantified. So for a butterfly, it has to be tight. And your general stop loss level should be roughly this distance. The distance between the XA and the hop, projected up like that, about 82, 83 bucks. But it should be reactive like this, which it was, led to something bigger, then goes to a crab pattern with the big shakeout. I mean, your hop at 16, 17 was it. But I am more concerned with looking at levels against the all-time high. So if it's 100, we're targeting psychologically what could be up there. We want to consider it off of A all the way down to this D. That's your range of possibility for crude oil. And tell me what it's doing. Your all-time 618 is at 76, 77. There are a ton of numbers, folks, at 78 to 80, but they're getting blown out. And this is also something that is helpful with the patterns, that tell me what's going on right here. Tell me what's going on right where it's supposed to be rolling over. We're breaking out. Final point about this whole assessment of what's the all-time 886. Because that gives us a target. That's at around 127, 128. So what can we take away from all of this? Because if we're just going to look for the dots, if you will, and connect dots. Oh, here we go. This is what I wanted. Much better. We're still in this long-term breakout with nothing here above these levels until really 127. With 100 not being much. I don't think 100 is anything but a psychological level that I will focus on, but I really feel like you're running out of options and harmonic pattern possibilities. Even if, let me remove some of the noise. Again, everything I do is to question the market from the harmonic pattern framework. And if I apply the harmonic patterns and understand if it's first time, second time, reaction, reversal, what are the possibilities of where it should go. And we could look at, you know, several crab patterns all down here, generally on the weekly at 40, 30, 20, you know, somewhere in that lower, if you're looking for a historic low, 20, 16 to 20 area. But even if I was going off this last crab pattern, folks, we could still say that this is a type 2. You have a crab, you have an ABCD at the bottom, which is very common. We've seen that. You go to 76 exactly. And then you come back for the retest, the return. So that's how I know we're in a type 2. This was a crazy, probably the greatest capitulation of all time that I've ever seen. Crude oil to go to negative 40. You know how much money needs to be lost to make that happen? A lot. And so if this is a type 2 and all of this is lining up with that kind of reaction, it's either maybe 90, 89, 84 or 127. So I've looked at this so many different ways. There are possibilities for this thing to go sideways or explode. We've been extremely strong. Look at the weekly since October low. Tell me something's not happening that's bigger than the story itself in the individual price action. We know that there are some bearish patterns up here. That's what these are reacting off of. That's a reaction off of a pattern. This is another reaction off of a pattern. And now what? Well, now HSI confirmation bullish, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks. Okay, 6 out of the last 8 straight up. And even at a minimum, let's look at a 1618. I think we can all agree that that's been strong price action, where you go to strong enough on the breakout, especially with no check back. There's no W formation there. You just look at how strong that individual price action is, and we could assume a 1618 up to 98. That's what this is. So we're past the point of make or break in terms of 80. It's just a question of when. Does it happen really quickly through this 88, 90 level, and our short-term swing or even mid-term swing goes to 98 with a 1618 on crude oil? Very likely. Knowing also there's nothing above here. So if we trade 98 or we trade 99, you might as well trade 127, 128. A lot going down here. I really think some of the bigger patterns that we've looked at, some of the individual plays I've mentioned, just continue to get them on. Here's Apache. Okay, these have rallied substantially, but get them on your radar for pullbacks. If we got a pause here, I don't think these. I think these have lagged remarkably. The oil sector stocks have really not caught up. Let's see what else is there. Where's the 5-0? Bring the 5-0 there. Okay. And go to your monthly chart. So this is the other thing I would recommend is I've talked about these monthly patterns. Look at this monthly pattern on Apache. It's just like the crypto, but just in slow motion. Now there's a butterfly that I think Thomas Bilkowski would say has failed. But because he doesn't understand the dynamics of harmonic patterns, he will miss that opportunity. And there's plenty of time for this opportunity. Here's another one, Transocean, if you want to speculate, rig. Okay, coming off of, I think it was that, yeah, there's a big ABCD down there, but there's some weekly stuff. And the fact that there are patterns getting generated down here, great sign. There it is. Some of those bigger ABCDs. This thing hasn't even started to move. And I would look for this. Oh, good. You have an HSI that triggered a few weeks ago. But how many of these have we seen? Tons. And we will target out of the zone, target 1, 869. Maybe as high as 1173. I know that sounds like a stretch, but that's how we look at this. Could this be oil's last march upward before the rollout of electric? Let me tell you about that. All right. Anytime you outlaw anything and make it scarce, its price will go up. And a lot of those people that have interests in seeing a full electric transition need the price of crude oil and natural gas to go up substantially to better justify the alternatives. Also, about that whole concept of peak oil or, no more crude oil. Realistically, folks, it's 20 years. Even the Chinese are saying they can't even get there until 2050, 2060. In that time frame, you need a lot of oil, a lot of natural gas. Here's MRO, Marathon. This is one of the sleepers I was talking about all last year, and we're now minimum go back retest this ABCD. If I walk you through MRO, and this is what we have done. This is why the framework is so critical. There's your reaction with a nice back-to-back pattern. Okay, that's what's set up this retest return right at the hop. Now we're coming back up, retest that ABCD, if not hit target 2. Okay? That's why this is now running, and this shows you what happens when you're flawed and then failed. This bat pattern gave you a reaction off the bottom like that, but that was it. You go sideways for 30 or more bars. You even get another reaction with bearish confirmation, and it just blows it out. So beyond that, from there, you should be accelerating a lot of these. Just like the spot price of crude oil, folks. Spot price of crude oil is much the same situation that another $1, $2 higher. We'll see more acceleration, not less. Nothing there yet for a bearish signal yet. I would expect this thing to do some kind of run to finish off the move. So let's just be aware of the fact that within the whole scope of things, these longer term cycles, if it's ExxonMobil, if it's Chevron, if this MRO at Marathon Oil, all right, all-time high was 41. Clearly the 40 low here at $3 holding, but let's just last fun. Let's wrap it up with XLE. Same deal. Major patterns. Look at XLE. Oh, blowing out. Deep crab. I don't know if everyone remembers me going through this. I should try to dig out the video from a year and a half ago, but this was perfect. Type 1, Type 2. This one at 31 is probably a permanent low, folks. At 31. I don't think you'll ever see 31 again on XLE. With, regardless, XLE breaking out above target 2. Why? Because we'd want to see HSI or something at target 2 off that deep crab if that was going to be it. If anything, massive breakout. I say XLE goes back to retest these patterns at 99, maybe, certainly 85, 86. That's why the situation in crude oil is so important. Every day now, going to the end of the month, going to be just dramatic action that we get that continuation, especially in the next month. This, you will see this. You will see this in short order. So, absolutely, folks. Let's wrap it up here with the energy talk. I'll get into more altcoins. We're going to get Mitch back here. Sorry, man. I don't know what happened, but We'll get you back. Oh, here he is. Let me just say something to him really quick. Thanks, everybody. So I appreciate it. Listen, a lot of great information to be gleaned from these massive longer term patterns. If you're new to the software, go check your monthly charts on your major companies. Take a look at the massive patterns that are happening across the board. And, dig in because the framework applies the same way. We still look for type 1, type 2 reaction, reversal, dynamics. With crude oil, a lot of them are coming off of massive type 2 reversals. So just there's a lot here to really pay attention to. We'll come back to more of it tomorrow. Bitcoin up 1,000, 1,300 right now at 43,000. Let's, again, not a heck of a lot here. We need to see that follow through, but I'm still not completely there. I think check my comments in our last discussion about Bitcoin. I really feel like something major has to happen, and I'm still with your crypto folks. I would be looking at everything but Bitcoin and Ethereum at this point. We'll see how it shapes up over the weekend. In the next week, we'll be back on Monday. I'll be joining Mitch Ray tonight over on his channel, so get with us. And then, no, I'm not here tomorrow. We're here Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, about 11:30, so subscribe and get with everything I talked about on harmonictrader.com, folks. Become a basic member. That's everything you need. So until then, we'll see you on Monday. I'll catch me with Mitch tonight. And have a great weekend if I don't catch you. And see you at 11:30 Eastern. As always, go get 'em.